Hello and welcome to the Complete Lakers podcast. I'm Anthony Wilson, recording from Los Angeles, California. About 25 minutes ago, the Lakers got finished surviving against the Nuggets. The final score was Lakers 127, Nuggets 125 in overtime. It was one hell of a game. You wonder if this is a game where the Lakers are finally able to exercise those Nuggets demons and kind of break the curse that the Lakers, the curse of the spell that the Nuggets have had over the Lakers since 2023. It was a game that had twists and turns back and forth. It's one of those games where, imagine you're a columnist and you have to have, you have to turn your column in, for a particular game. You're at the game, you're watching the game, you're writing, and you have to turn your column in that same night, you know, and you're watching the game, and it's a back and forth. I figured I was going to come on here tonight, uh, and when the Lakers were led by 17 points in the first half, led by 11 points at the half. And I figured it was going to be, a chance for me to come here and talk about how Luka's had, an underrated MVP-like season. It's going to be like a happy episode of the podcast. But then the Nuggets came out in the second half, and they won the third quarter by 11 points. We were tied at the end of the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, the Nuggets led by as many as 8 points. It was 106-98 at one point in the fourth quarter. And so going back to my columnist analogy, imagine you're at the game, you're watching the game, you start off, because remember, you got a deadline. You start off, you're writing, and you're writing from the point of view of, the Lakers. They came out, they beat the Nuggets, they finally break the spell, break the curse. And then the tide turns, the Nuggets come back, and now it's at 106-98. But I think, I guess it was under, I forget, I know, I don't know, last 5 or so minutes of the game, right? And you're thinking at that point, man, it's the same old thing. Nuggets are going to win this game. You have to start your whole column over, right? And then so now at 109 to 102, Jackson Hayes, Nuggets lead. Jackson Hayes makes one of two free throws. Then Luka hits a three, and then Luka gets fouled on a three and makes all three free throws. Now the game is tied at 109. Fast forward, the Nuggets maintain a small lead, but it's a situation where the Lakers will get the ball inbounded, and the Nuggets will foul to stop the Lakers from hitting a three. So you have it'll be a 3-point game, and the Nuggets would foul the Lakers. It happened at least twice. I think it was Austin who got fouled both times, right? And so it comes down. I forget who missed the free throw. Somebody missed a free throw for Denver, and it ends up coming down. Lakers are down 3. Nuggets foul again. They foul Austin. I guess the game at this point, the score is 118 to 115 for the Nuggets. And Austin gets fouled because they fouled him. I think it was Spencer Jones who fouled him, stopped him from getting up a 3. Austin goes to the free throw. It's like 5 seconds left in the game. Austin goes to the free throw line. He makes the first one. He misses the second one on purpose, and he gets the offensive rebound and makes the basket to tie the game with 1.9 seconds left. Denver inbounds the ball. They get up a shot. It doesn't go. We go to overtime, right? Now, in overtime, Jamal Murray falls out early in overtime. Jamal only had 5 points on 1 of 14 shooting in 36 minutes before fouling out. And they played Hit the Road Jack, which I didn't know they still played that when guys fouled out. I remember I talked about this before back in the day, when Lakers were winning championships with Shaq and Kobe. That was always one of my favorites. It was like a fan favorite. You can see it. The people were still, Jamal fouls out, they get up, they start waving, they start playing the music. It was just like the old days, right? So Jamal falls out. I'll get back to that in a second. Basically, I'll get back to it in a second. Um, and ends up, fast forward, uh, Aaron Gordon hits a three to put the Nuggets up 123 to 122. I think he had 5 threes for the game. Uh, then you had Marcus Smart comes right back and hits a three to put the Lakers on top 125 to 123. Then the Lakers come back down. I'm sorry, the Nuggets the Nuggets have the ball. And, it's Joker going at DeAndre Ayton. Joker puts a move on Ayton. Ayton blocks him and watches the ball go out of bounds. And he could have grabbed it. You could tell the guy was telling him, why didn't you grab the ball? Why didn't you just get grab the rebound? It was right there. You had. Instead, Ayton, it was almost like Ayton couldn't believe he blocked Joker in that situation and just allowed the ball to go out of bounds. Of course, you get the Joker another chance. He makes the basket. Now we're tied at 125 with 15.1 seconds left. And then Lakers inbound, and of course, Luka hits the game winner with 5/10 of a second left. Nuggets, what do they call time, and inbounded, and they weren't able to. The final shot came well short. I was going to say before I forget is that like as happy as everybody, all Lakers fans are with that outcome. It's really not a good sign that it took that much to beat the Nuggets on a night when Jamal Murray only scored 5 points on 1 of 14 shooting and fouled out in 36 minutes in an overtime game. Like, I mean, geez Louise. It took all that. And gosh, what are the chances Jamal Murray's ever going to score 5 points again against the Lakers, right? um, but yeah, man, this is one where, like I said, if I were a columnist, it would have been like, I would have been first. It would have been like I'm writing about, Luka's MVP case and the Lakers, finally breaking a spell against Denver, and then that switched to, the Nuggets. I was going to go here and talk about how the Nuggets still have mind control of the Lakers, and it reminded me of how the Lakers, used to. Beat the Blazers beat the Blazers in the playoffs 3 years in a row between 2000 and 2002. I remember Rick Fox saying, I think in the 2001 championship DVD, that it was like the Blazers. It's almost like the Blazers doubted that they could beat the Lakers in a four-quarter basketball game after what happened in 2000 when we came back in Game 7. I think it was Foxy, or maybe Phil Jackson. So I think. About exercise, I forget. I was going to talk about how the Nuggets were mentally tougher, tougher mentally and physically, and that the Lakers only beat the Nuggets at one time when Joker was out. And then the Lakers come back and they win the game, right? So it just ended up going pretty much full circle. I wanted to say something about first of all, let me read the, okay, so the Joker had 24 points, 16 rebounds, 14 assists. Aaron Gordon had 27 points. I mentioned he had hit 5 threes. Tim Hardaway had 20 points off the bench. Luka had 30 points, 11 rebounds, 13 assists, so a triple-double, after having 51, 10, and 9 in the last game. Austin was great, 32 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Marcus Smart had 21 points, including 5 threes. And LeBron had 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. I'll get back to LeBron in just a second. I want to say something about the turnover. The turnovers were so. It's like these half court, full court, cross court passes that the Nuggets are just basically sitting there like a defensive back. like what is wrong with the Lakers? Like the Nuggets are saying, like what? Do they? I mean, it's the type of passes that I throw in 2K all the time. I just it's like, didn't I see that guy standing right there and know that he was gonna pick that pass off? And that's the kind of pass Lakers must have made that pass 5, 6, 7 times. I'm saying, looking like, what is wrong with these guys? And so they're lucky. If they had taken better care of the ball and maybe maximize some of those possessions better instead of just throwing the ball away, maybe it wouldn't have come down to such a an overtime thriller. You know, the other thing I want to say about LeBron is that it's crazy how LeBron it's amazing to watch in real time as LeBron realizes and accepts that he's not the man anymore. I don't think he took hardly any shots down the stretch of the game. He seems uh, to realize that Luka and Austin are the best players on this team, and really the less he does, like basically the less he makes him, like the less his presence is felt, kinda, uh, the better this team have a chance to you know compete for a championship. Um, and you saw him hustling and diving for loose balls. It's really crazy to watch someone who's you know one of the top 3 or 4 players of all time by any estimation. In real time, watching him accept that he's 41 and that he's only the third best player on this team now, and that the team plays better, really. Like I said, with the less his presence is felt. You know, yeah. But I think we're kind of starting to see, and I saw like, I think on the Odd Couple. I mean, you've seen people talk about like should LeBron come off the bench? I mean, that would just be disrespectful. Um, it was more realistic to ask, would he accept, I think, being just a role player? You know, I said he had it was 17, 6 and 5 tonight. Only took 13 shots, so 7 of 13, while Luka took 26 and Austin took 21. So that sounds about right. You know, if and he I don't think he was. It's sometimes it's obvious to watch when he's like hurting the team. I really wouldn't say that he was really hurting the team. It's also kind of just easy at this point when they start losing. It's easy, and he's out there. It's just easy to blame it on him, right? Because that's just become like the party line, right? And I've done the same thing. I said the Lakers play better without LeBron, but yeah, it's weird. It's funny to watch. It reminds me of when back exactly, it was 20 years ago. Uh, Shaq, when the Heat won that title in 2006 with D Wade as the best player on the team, and watching Shaq realize, hey, I'm not that guy anymore. This is D Wade's team. You know, um, Gary Payton too, kind of. You know, I mean, Gary Payton. I guess Gary Payton was further gone at that point. But yeah, it's like it's interesting to watch. I'm trying to think if there's any other times like you usually don't see such a great player. Uh, I mean, it does happen, but not when they're on teams that are contending teams. You see, like I said, Shaq by 2006, he wasn't the same cat, right? And he was the second option by then, and D Wade was just on top of his game, 24 years old. It happened with Kareem. Those last few years, the last 2 championships, and that last year in '89, they lost to Detroit. Uh, Larry Bird was still the best player on the Celtics when they made their last run in '91. Let me see. I mean, Karl Malone. I kind of mentioned that recently. Rich Paul said that he was. Max Kellerman was saying that Rich Paul thinks that LeBron should be like the mailman role, the Karl Malone role, like the role man, basically, right? But you remember Karl Malone in the 2004 Lakers as a role player, and GP the same way. Um, so yeah, you usually don't see guys who spent their whole career having their own. I mean, Jason Kidd was on the one though, and he was with the Mavericks. Who kind of just accepted that. Uh, Let me see. I'm sure there's some others now that I think about it. But why? But just LeBron is, like I said, he's the way he's hovered over the game in every way. I mean, historically, LeBron's presence over a basketball game was as large as anybody's has ever been. And to watch him now out there hustling and diving on the ground, and realize that I don't need to take it out. If I take a shot down the stretch of a big game like this, a regular season game like this, I'm okay. Like I'm in violation, kind of. I'm hurting the team, you know. So it's really something to watch, you know. Now, back to Luka. Like I said, it came full circle. And once again, this wasn't the most impressive win. I mean, you take a win, but like I said, for them to barely be able to win this game when Jamal played so poorly is really not a good sign. But yeah, I think I think that Luka. Now Lakers are now 42-25, I believe. Uh, and Luka averaging 33 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 47% from the field, 36% from three, 78% from the field goal line. I'm sorry, from the free throw line. Uh, you know, Not exactly Shea Gilgeous or Jokic like efficiency, but I mean that's pretty darn good, especially when you think about how many threes he takes and how many shots he takes in general. He shoots a lot of free throws too. I think he leads league in free throw attempts, haven't he? So you know, it's been a hell of a up and down ride for the Lakers, and it's crazy because I said um, I looked at the schedule at the end of at the beginning of the month and talked about how tough it was going to be. But since that loss to the Nuggets on the fifth, you look at the Lakers three of the Lakers last four games, and they won. Lakers have won five straight now, um, and three of the last four wins have come against the Knicks, the Timberwolves, and now the Nuggets. So once again, it just goes to show what I know. But yeah, the Lakers are and I said this the whole season. I feel like this was a Lakers team that their best was yet to come. We hadn't seen their best yet, and they've turned up the intensity. LeBron seems to, like I said, he's realizes what his role is now, and it's just kind of starting to make sense. Now, it does appear that I wouldn't say right now, I mean, it would be impossible to say or foolish to say that if the Lakers played Denver in a 7-game series, that the Lakers would win. Because, I mean, even that first game against Denver, when we beat them without the Joker, that was not an easy game for the Lakers. We had to come back. Well, that's kind of what the Lakers do anyway against teams that they should beat easily. But, the last time they beat us without Gordon, I forget. I know Gordon. I don't really know who else didn't play. But today they have their full team. But like I said, Jamal played so poorly. He's never going to play like that again, especially against the Lakers. So it's impossible to say that if they played Denver in a 7-game series, that the Lakers would beat them. But you just never know. Like I said, maybe today was the type of game where the Lakers finally being able to beat Denver in a close game. I can't even remember the last time the Lakers beat Denver in a close game. That like I said, they might have broken the curse. They might have gotten the monkey off their back. Like I said, AD is gone. This is a different Lakers team. Not that AD was the problem before, but you have a front-facing. I say front-facing. I mean a guard, Luka, 6'6", 6'7", who is just an offense by himself, which is that's the type of this modern era of the NBA. That's like the most valuable asset that you can have. And put Austin Reeves with him, and you got these other guys who they do play well around him, and it's been getting more recently. It's looked more like it did at the start of the season, and LeBron last couple of games has just kind of fit, like slid back in, and it's like I said, he realizes now that he's, the less he does, the better. The less he sticks out, the better, basically. Uh, Now those other teams, like I said, they won the season series against Minnesota. I think 3-1. Uh, they got Houston now in back-to-back games in Houston. That'll be telling. I've always said that I don't think Houston, with the injury situation with Fleet this summer before the season even started, tearing his ACL, their guard situation, and I like Reed Shepard. He can play. But he's so young. He kind of, I don't know if I can't imagine that he's ready for this. And they did get some experience last year. They have Durant, but Durant is not a leader. Durant is not a bus driver. He's a bus rider. In Minnesota, I don't know. I mean, Minnesota's still good, but like I said, the Lakers have won the season series against them now. So it could be different than it was last year. But obviously San Antonio and OKC are their level above. I do still think that Denver, if they can get their stuff together, uh, they could possibly come out of the West. Like I said before, they've had so many injuries. Um, you look at this team, it's Jamal, it's Brown, it's Cam Johnson, it's uh, Aaron Gordon, it's the Joker. They also have Valanciunas, who I didn't see him out there today. Did he play? Uh, uh, Tim Hardaway, who I said 20 points. Peyton Watson, you know. So that's a solid 8 right there, and that's pretty much all you need in the playoffs. Like last couple of years, it seemed like you only had 6 guys to play. So if they can get healthy, get some momentum running, going in the postseason, they're going to be tough. But obviously, OKC is the standard; they're the defending champions, and then San Antonio, who Wemby is so good. The only problem they have is that they've never been in the playoffs before. And usually it takes a while. Like you have to climb. You have to walk before you can run. Like crawl before you can walk. You have to walk before you can run. And San Antonio just went from being, they had the number 2 pick last year. I don't remember what their record was. And now they're the second best team in the West. Um, and you wonder if they have if they're gonna, they don't have the experience. And historically, you have needed experience. That damn Wemby is just one of a kind. He's a unicorn, and he's gonna be a problem, bruh. What the hell are people gonna do when San Antonio gets their legs under them as far as the playoffs go? And Wemby is out there. They're gonna win 5 championships at least with that guy. So yeah, and I want to give a shout out to JJ Redick too, man, because he's held the fort down. They started strong. They started 15-4, and then they kind of just meandered for a good chunk of the season. And then recently they've been really good again. You know, so yeah, he's done a good job. For sure, I think we have our coach of the present and the future. And it's just a matter of what type of matchups they're able to get this postseason. You gotta hope if you run into Denver, gotta hope that the tables have turned enough that maybe we could beat them. Which, like I said, it don't really look like it, but that's what you hope, especially after a game like today. And then if you run into San Antonio, you got to hope that San Antonio doesn't have the experience yet to win a championship. And then if you're running OKC, you got to hope that, well, OKC, no team has won back-to-back since the Warriors in 2018. It's the era where teams are winning back-to-back. But that's what you have. It's hard to go back-to-back no matter who you are. So that's the thing you got to hope for in that situation. So yeah, like I said, man, you gotta hope the matchups fall right and that you get lucky. And that's the NBA in 2026. It's really always been like that though, but even more now because the team they're just like when the Lakers played the Nuggets in the first round in 24 and 25. It's like historically Lakers Nuggets would be a conference finals series, or at least conference semifinals, but it's a first round series. That's how deep and loaded the NBA is now. All right, so before I get out of here, just a reminder to hit that subscribe button next to the Complete Podcast Network and to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at TC Pod Network. You can also send feedback and mailback questions to Complete Podcast Network at gmail.com. I am out.